Hello, Jen, and happy full moon. The reason I wanted to wait to do the reading tonight was because we are in the beautiful harvest full moon, and I figured, doing a full moon reading will enhance the energy of the reading fabulously. So I'm actually very excited. So thank you for kind of letting me do it at night because the energy is quite amazing tonight. Actually, in a few hours at midnight, we are going to go outside and have a fire and actually make some full moon manifesting candles. I will add those to the shop sometime in the next weeks. But because it is your first reading, for every reading that I do, I like to use crystals. So I do have an amethyst cluster, and that's for that healing and that balance energy. I also have a clear quartz, and this is basically to enhance the messages that we'll be receiving today. Today we're going to focus on that angel energy. So we're going to focus a lot on the guidance and what they've been trying to say, as well as to see how to work with the situations. I don't know if you can see in the background, I do have my divination candles burning, as well as the sage and protection candles. I do have a light right here, which is kind of creating this kind of halo on this side, but this is just, let me see, it's just a light. It's only because the light in this particular room is quite dark. So when I do it at night, I like to add that extra light so it's not so dark. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to lower the camera and we're going to start with the tarot. After we're done with the tarot, I'm going to go ahead and add some oracle for that specific guidance, as well as we're going to just take a sneak peek to see what gifts you are working with at the moment. That way it's almost like you can get more information about them. I could send you some links if some gifts do show up, so you could read more about them and kind of understand them a little bit better. Because it seems to me, because of the emails, that your spirit guides have been quite very active. So let's go ahead and get started. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lower the camera. I'm going to get it centered. That way you can see the cards as they show up. So let me find the center. And like I said, we're going to start with the Angel Tarot. Let's peek the light this way. Let's move these decks a little bit out of the way. And this deck is quite very big, so I usually break this deck in half. I've already shuffled it a few times before the reading, and before each reading I always leave them charging with a clear quartz in my altar for 24 hours. That way they are cleansed and they're just ready to be used. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start with 8 cards, and I will zoom in a second. And these, I don't like to read the particular angel cards in reversed. So if you see that I'm kind of switching them around, don't get worried. Is that these angel cards kind of speak very clearly, so I don't find the need to follow the reverse, kind of like if we were using a Rider-Waite tarot. So let's go ahead and zoom in a bit. There we go. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get started with the 8 cards. And then from there, we're going to move on to the next. So the first one that we have here is the Queen of Fire. Let me try to get the lights. There we go. We have the Queen of Fire, and when we see the Queen of Fire is about someone who's very confident and warm, intelligent, as well as grateful. So it's kind of describing your attitude, your personality, I would say. So when we see this, it's kind of asking you to stretch your wings and to fly. So kind of work with that self-doubt, and just don't underestimate yourself. Assert your independence as well as your creativity. So it seems like you have had a lot of plans and a lot of changes, but what may be happening is that the self-doubt is what's stopping you at the moment. So we get to kind of overthink things when when a lot of opportunities show up. So that self-doubt, it kind of creates that fear of the unknown. As you know, whenever we do new things or whenever we are presented new opportunities, we kind of have that self-doubt that stops us. So what this card is saying in particular is do not let that self-doubt stop you, and just try to follow your own energy. And it's almost like kind of asking you to pay attention to your intuition, to pay attention to your kind of like your gut feeling and not so much to your mind. The next one that we're seeing is that King of Air. So I need to just fix this light for a moment. And when we see the King of Air is someone who is kind of very brilliant. So once again, we have another card kind of mentioning those gifts again. So it's someone who's quite very brilliant, quite very impartial, professional, as well as very diplomatic. So when we see this card show up, it's kind of asking you to speak your mind. So you tend to kind of keep things in order to make other people comfortable, but at the same time you have a very strong attitude, and that is actually something very positive. So this is all about speaking your mind with confidence and almost like balancing mental and emotional energy. So what do we see with this is kind of saying the same thing as this one in a way, finding that balance between your emotional energy as well as your mental energy. So it's finding that happy medium. So it's almost like, how do we do this? This we do kind of by meditating. We do meditation, we do energy cleansing. And how do we energy cleanse? And I think that was one of your questions. I do apologize for that. Well, how do we energy cleanse? Is basically we can take a selenite crystal or even a clear quartz, and you're going to take some sage and you're going to go from the inside to the outside of your body. So in this particular motion, and you're going to take the crystal and do the same thing, then you're going to sage yourself. So you could put your sage on the floor and let the smoke go around you for just a few seconds, up to a minute. That right there will help you cleanse your energy. So it's just kind of like learn to speak your mind without fear and make sure that you're setting your boundaries. When the King of Air shows up, we're seeing a lot of empath energy. An empath is someone who can soak in and read others' energy. So seeing this show up is showing your gift of being an empath. Being an empath is quite a beautiful thing, but if we don't keep our energy balanced, what happens is we get out of balance and we start feeling extremely overwhelmed because of all the energy that we're soaking in from everyone around us. So basically, balance is the key for this card. I do apologize. I'm getting out of a cold at the moment. The next card that we have is that Nine of Earth. So when we see the Nine of Earth, it's all about enjoying life's little luxuries, spending quite a lot of time, and a lot of successful either self-employment or career-wise or even school-wise. So there will be a lot of success there. Any career opportunities that show up or choices that you make will lead you to success. Now, when it's saying spending quiet alone time, this is all about meditation. So a lot of introspection, going inside and working with yourself. The next one that we're seeing is the release, which tonight is a perfect night to release because we have that full moon. But the full moon energy, remember, it lasts 3 days before the full moon. And then we have the full moon, and it lasts 3 days after. So let's say you want to do a release ritual, but you can't tonight, then you could do that release ritual up to 3 days after tonight. And this is all about the end of a phase or a situation is coming. So something that's been kind of either tough to deal with or something that you've been kind of battling with is going to come to an end soon, and there's a lot of spiritual transformation happening. Now if there is any kind of negativity, what it's saying that it is time for you to move on. So basically, release and cleanse anything that serves you no purpose. Old emotions, old resentments, anything that's keeping you from moving forward, it's time to let it go. The next one that we're seeing is Justice, which is Archangel Ragel. And I'm trying to get the light in a way that it's not blocking it. So when we see the Justice card, we're seeing someone who's making fair and just decisions. So you know exactly what you're doing. You're quite very well at analyzing what's the best for you. But just keep doing what you know is right, as well as stand up for your beliefs. So make sure that you're following your own energy, and it's almost like allowing yourself to do what you're meant to do without letting other people's opinions kind of get in the way. It may be that there might be someone around you who's draining you. Remember, you do have that empath ability. So if you have someone around you draining you, what happens is that even though you're trying to shield them, you will feel drained. So it's almost standing your ground and, you know, maybe canceling plans with these people, or knowing when you have to deal with these people. Just kind of block yourself from their energy. So it's just keeping yourself as balanced as you possibly can. The next one that we see is the World, and the World is just kind of showing up and saying that you have actually done a well job, a well job. And it's almost like a job well done. So a lot of joy, contentment, and gratitude, the path toward enlightenment. So even though we may not be focusing on the spiritual part, as you can see, it is coming out because it wants to be known. So it's almost like you're almost at the end of a massive transformation, and now you're feeling more enlightened. It's almost like you have your 2 feet planted on the ground, and now it's the time that you're beginning to embrace your gifts, and you're beginning to kind of how do you say it, to be comfortable with the idea that you are highly intuitive, and it's almost like you're finally coming into your own skin. So that's actually a very beautiful card to get. The next one that we see is the Three of Fire, which shows a lot of abundance headed your way. Now, when we see the Three of Fire, is kind of things look very good for you, coming up for you, and just asking you to have patience at this time. So right now, if you're working with manifesting and setting intent, it's all going to happen. It's just asking you to just be patient while it happens, but it's a good time to make long-term plans. So as you can see, good things are basically almost at your doorstep. You just have to be a little more patient. Now, the next one that we're seeing of this deck, we have that Seven of Fire. So when we see the Seven of Fire, is kind of defending your beliefs and decisions. So there might be people around you, once again, that might not agree with you or the way that you see things. Once again, it's trying not to waste energy kind of explaining them all the time or defending who you are to them. It's almost just, once again, telling you to stand your ground and choose your battles wisely. The reason why we have that Seven of Fire is because of that King of Air, once again, talking about that empath gift. And empath is quite a gift to have, because I call my empath my, kind of like my human lying detector test. They know when someone's kind of saying a story that maybe is not true or things like that. And once you're an empath, it's a beautiful thing, but what happens is if you don't keep your energy checked, you will get drained, even just to a trip to the store, because you're soaking up energy that does not belong to you. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the next deck, and we're just going to take a peek. So I'm just going to get 4 cards out, and this is going to see kind of like what gifts we're working with. So the first one that we see here, we have the sensitivity card. So when we see sensitivity, is that right now you are extra sensitive to the energies and emotions around you. So it's almost that overwhelming energy, and as you can see, once again, it's going to link you to that King of Air, and it's almost like you have to honor yourself at this moment, and as well as your feelings. That way, you honor them, you allow yourself to feel them, and then you're going to release them, like we have the release card. That way they don't become stale and kind of give you that heavy feeling when, you know, we need an energy cleansing, we get exhausted, and we kind of want to hide from the world. So how do we do this? Once again, meditation is the key, and meditation is a whole process. I know it's not easy, but it does work. It can work as long as we don't give up. Now we're going to take a look at the next one, which is quite interesting. These two, to be in fact. Clear audience. When clear audience comes up, clear audience is actually a psychic clear. It's known as the psychic clear of the psychic realm. And clear audience is kind of receiving messages through either voices or sounds that are out of this world. Let's say you're somewhere and you hear footsteps, or you hear like someone's saying something and you look at the person next to you and you say, did you hear that? And they'll say no. And basically we tend to kind of brush it off. But what this is that your senses are actually quite kind of very, how do you say, high, and they can grasp these out-of-world messages. So it's time to pay attention to that guidance that you hear inside of your mind, or it's something that you're hearing from other people. I would recommend that you start a psychic journal so you can write how you feel through the day, how you feel with certain people, even what you're grasping from entering places. A good way to know the clairaudient gift is kind of realizing, do you always get that sense of deja vu, that you could walk into a place and it's almost like you know this place by heart? That right there would be your clairaudient gift. The next one that we see is compassion. So practicing compassion to raise our vibration. This is a great way to cleanse the energy as well. And it's softening the heart with respect to any situations that you're going through and all of the people involved. Now, this is including yourself. So see, when we are gifted, we are very compassionate to other people, but a lot of times we forget to be compassionate to ourselves. So here we are helping other people heal, helping other people in their journey, but then we put all these expectations on ourselves. So when you have this card, it's saying lower your expectations and kind of work with yourself as well. The same compassion that you're giving other people, make sure that you're giving to yourself. If you have too many expectations of yourself, learn to lower them. That way, at the end of the day, if you didn't meet your expectations, you could just tell yourself, hey, I did the best I could. And you're not upset or saying, you know, I should have done this, I should have done that. Because those thoughts lower our vibration. So this card, even though it's speaking about being compassionate to other people, when I do see someone who has gifts, I always remind them, you need to also have compassion with yourself. Now the next one that we're seeing is clairsentient, and clairsentient is quite very linked to being an empath, except clairsentient is part of the clairpsychic gifts. Clairsentient is basically being able to sense other people's energy and soak them in. So you're able to know when you meet someone if you like them instantly, if you don't, if they give you a good vibe, if they don't, and you even tend to know if the person's trying to shield you from reading them. This card showing up to you is only just kind of reminding you to trust that feeling. I am sure that sometime in your life you've met someone and you had a weird feeling about them, but you still gave them a chance. And I'm pretty sure that a few months later something happened and maybe you told yourself, oh, I should have listened to myself. When I met this person, I knew there was something off about them. This one's all about learning how to trust that gift. So basically about the clairaudience and the clairsentient. If you want more information that you can read about, let me know. I do teach workshops, so I do have a lot of links saved up that could help you kind of explain it a little more. So now what we're going to do, we are going to move on to our next deck. And this is going to be kind of like that guidance part of the reading. And yes, I always do go over 12 cards. I don't like to end the reading with a certain amount of cards. I don't like to feel like I'm interrupting the flow. And as we see, we have a pretty good flow. So let's go ahead and pull out 4 of these cards. And let me place the deck right over here. The first one that we have is singing and dancing. So it's kind of learning how to express yourself and awaken your psychic senses through the magical power of music and movement. A lot of people don't know, but a good way to meditate is actually taking a walk. We think of meditation just sitting there and taking deep breaths. Yeah, that's great meditation. That's more for centering. But let's say we can't really do that at work or at school. Taking a walk, especially in nature, for a good 5 minutes will help you kind of balance your energy and recharge yourself, especially under the sun. Also, using music for setting intent and rituals will actually give that ritual more power. So this is actually quite beautiful because it just kind of just says, you know, we know that you are gifted. These are the ways to help yourself manifest faster. The next one that we're seeing is books. So your life purpose involves either writing, reading, editing, or even selling some kind of spiritually based book or studying. So this goes a long ways. We're not only talking about what you can do, but also when we see the books card, it would be good to kind of maybe down the road get a past life reading to kind of see if maybe in a past life you had something that involved writing, because it is kind of showing up like something very important to you. So I'd like to hear from you what this card means for you. Also, it may be starting to study more about your gifts, getting to know your energy a little better. The more information that you have, the better. The next one that we see is Ascended Master. So powerful, loving, and wise spiritual teachers are watching over and guiding you. So this may be that energy that you feel, that is quite very strong with you, and it is those Ascended Masters. We know about the spirit guides, but now Ascended Masters are quite a stronger energy. Excuse me. And they're quite very strong. They are basically the strongest spirit guides that you can have. Now, this card is actually very rare to see in a reading, and as you can see, you have a lot of cards pinpointing and touching your psychic gift. So it seems to me that the messages that your spirit guides have been trying to give you is to get in touch with that energy that you have inside, your natural ways with energy. The next one that we see is cancel, clear, and delete. So it's use only positive words and thoughts as they're rapidly manifesting into form. And you could actually ask the angels to cancel the effects of past negative thinking. So as you can see, the angel energy is quite working with you strongly as well. We tend to think that the things that we put out there, oh no, you know, let's say 3 weeks ago you had a rough day and you weren't thinking positive, you were just thinking negative, so we beat ourselves up, and that's perfectly fine. You could always just go back and work with that energy of your spirit guides and say, hey, let's delete that energy. I was at a downtime, let's restart this again. And just like that, you get to kind of cancel, clear, and delete. We could always reform our energy daily. We could have a bad day today, but tomorrow we could actually make it the best. So it's not kind of moving on with those resentments. The best thing to do is leaving them back there and just starting all over again. So now what I'm going to do is, well, I'm going to be pulling out 2 cards, and it's also an angel deck, and these 2 cards are going to act like your cards of the moment. So I don't know if you follow my Instagram or my Facebook page for Light Witch Tarot, but you see that I always pull out a card of the day every morning. Now, I base that card on general energy, but this one's based on your energy, and that's why I'm going to be pulling 2. It's not just for this moment, but it is for the upcoming days. So let's see here. We have Zadkiel and we have Gabriel. First one, and it's, as you can see, it's actually very synchronized to the other deck because we have compassion. So once again, how to raise those vibration, be compassionate to yourself and compassionate to others. And the last one we have Gabriel, which is actually just telling you to continue to carry yourself with grace. Once again, if things get hard, just kind of take a deep breath and allow yourself to move forward. Allow yourself to not stay in the moment of stress that you may have felt minutes ago. Allow yourself to feel and to release. Once again, I do want to say that working with your energy is quite, you have very vivid energy, and it's like, it's almost like very electrifying. So what I'm going to do, because I know that was a lot of information, I'm going to download the reading. I'm going to send it your way. Take your time. The video is always going to be available. So let's say you watch a little tonight and you want to watch it tomorrow and you want to take notes. You could do that. You could even watch the video a year from now if you want to kind of see how things fell, how, you know, to kind of compare. And my favorite part is just that feedback when you get back to me and you tell me what you felt and what you thought. So I cannot wait to work with your energy again, and I can't wait to hear back from you. Lots of love and light to you, Jen, and blessed be. Bye-bye.